Hey everyone, Scapegoat Stephen. We're back with another Marvel Crisis Protocol report. This time a classic Avengers lineup taking on my A-Force. So the Avengers will be on the left-hand side of the screen and the A-Force will be on the right-hand side of the screen. So let's get looking at those rosters. So we'll look at Avengers first. They will be on the left-hand side of your screen as you watch. They are Captain America, Steve, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Blade, Captain Marvel, Hulk, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Thor, and Wasp. And my opponent's bringing Agents of Smash, Avengers Assemble, Disarm, Follow Me, Gamma Launch, 1-2 Punch, Patch Up, Ricochet Blast, Second Wind, and Smash. So it should be noted there are 3 restricted cards here. Yes, this was filmed before the Follow Me change. It's a very general Avengers list, like my opponent is very into the Avengers, bought the core box and has just sort of expanded from there. He has got some really interesting purchases he's just made that I played against last night that aren't associated with this video, but he's really enjoying Avengers. I don't think he ever actually wants to step outside of Avengers, which is fair enough. Like, you know, if that's what he enjoys, that's what he enjoys. So that is his roster. There's not a huge amount, I think, other than Agents of Smash. I like that as a nice little flex fun pick for the She-Hulk Hulk combo. I don't like that size 5 piece. Off it goes. The rest is pretty straightforward. You know, Disarm for my big guys. You know, Gamma Launch is always good for a bit of extra movement. Patch Up, 1-2. You know, it's all Avengers good stuff. So that is the Avengers roster. Now let's jump over to the A-Force list. So this is my current A-Force roster, my actual current A-Force roster for the first time in a while on a video. This is the one I'm taking to the London Grand Tournament that in the next few days, actually, when this video comes out. This is, I think, my favourite list currently with A-Force. So we've got She-Hulk, Angela, Black Cat, Captain Marvel, Crystal Hulk, Medusa, Ms. Marvel, Okoye, and Wasp. So I've only got 2 unaffiliated characters there in the form of Ms. Marvel and Hulk. I've put Angela back in my roster. I know I'm not sure if I've spoken about her on the channel before, although I have been quite actively against her on Discord. But purely that's from she always rolls badly for me kind of perspective. But I've put her back in. She's good for scenario. I need to suck it up. She's really good on special delivery as well. So I've got A-Force Assemble, Brace for Impact, Elemental Infusion, Gamma Launch, Marked for Death, Mission Objective, Patch Up, Pin Particles, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination. I keep threatening to do an actual video where I discuss my full A-Force roster and why I take what I take, which I will eventually get round to, maybe after this weekend, after I've played 5 or 6 games at the London Grand Tournament with it, and we'll see how I do. But for the most part, you know, there's a sprinkling of character cards in there: Elemental Infusion, Gamma Launch, Pin Particles, Special Delivery is basically a character card, and then obviously the other 2 A-Force cards, and then a sprinkling of just standard stuff like Patch Up, Brace for Impact, Mark for Death, Mission Objective. I haven't actually played against Web Warriors in a very long time, so I'm struggling actually to play Marked for Death. And every single time I've taken, do I just take it out of the roster? The answer is no, never take it out of the roster just in case of Web Warrior shenanigans. And you know, Black Cat is seen in a reasonable amount of lists as well. So that is my A-Force roster. I'll be on the right hand side of the screen, and let's get stuck into the first round. But what you want to know first is the missions we're playing and the lists we ended up with. So it is 17 threat. Now I know it says Infinity Formula on the screen. It's actually not Infinity Formula. That was a mistype that I picked up during editing. It's actually Riot Spark over Extremis and Skrulls on 17 threat. So we ended up with Captain America, Steve, Ant-Man, Blade, and Hulk. Good combination of movement and punch. Avengers Assemble, though apparently I can't spell that. Follow Me, 1-2 Punch, Patch Up, and Second Wind. So again, you know, good Avengers cards, 2 restricted cards in this 5, so it doesn't really make a difference once we're at the table. Obviously, Avengers Assemble, really good movement, 1-2 punch, you know, Second Wind, Patch Up. Again, some good Avengers stuff. A-Force got She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Medusa, which, if anyone's watched the channel or heard me talk about, are like my core 14 threat. And then because we've got Skrulls, I threw Black Cat in there rather than someone like Crystal, which I probably would normally, maybe Wasp, maybe Ms. Marvel, depending on the objectives. But Black Cat, you know, we've got a single extract with the Skrulls, so Black Cat's going in there. Got A-Force Assemble. Mission Objective is in there for the same reason. You know, if Black Cat does get the Skrull but then gets dazed, I mean, there's Hulk. Like, all 4 of those characters could easily daze Black Cat. So there's Mission Objective there just in case. Patch Up, obviously Patch Up. Special Delivery and Stalwart Determination. I'm probably a little bit unsure here about A-Force Assemble, given the nature of the objectives, but my plan is really to get the Skrull and just hold 2 objectives and then just sort of eke out that lead on Extract. Captain Marvel's going to sit on the back objective. She's range 4, reasonably tanky once she gets binary going. And yeah, so we'll see how the game goes. Let's get into round 1. So deployment, we got She-Hulk center, and then directly opposite her is Hulk. Down goes Captain Marvel, Blade on the bottom left, Medusa top right, Steve top left, and Black Cat bottom right. And then Ant-Man is next to Hulk. So we will pick up that one of the objectives is misplaced in a minute. It's actually by Hulk's left foot behind that kiosk, but it should be in front of him. It's just mismeasurement on the part of how far onto the board it actually was. So I'm going to open with probably a little bit of a foolish gamble, but I kind of want to either force my opponent to put some damage on one of my models or, find the Skrull really early. Really nice. So Black Cat moves and fails to find the Skrull. So in response, Blade is going to activate. He is also going to double move down to this objective, and he is going to find the Skrull. So second roll. So the Skrull is now his, and the other Skrulls go away. So now I'm a little bit unsure. I wasn't going to play Special Delivery turn 1, but I kind of need to move She-Hulk a bit. So we're going to go with Captain Marvel. And she is going to Special Delivery She-Hulk. Now, there you go, there's the objective move. I'm not sure if it's the right choice here, but this was about using Special Delivery specifically for movement. So there we go, we drop She-Hulk there. It means She-Hulk can get a walk and an attack into Blade, and then she sits on the Extremis console. Cap is going to go. He's going to double move to that objective at the top of the board. She-Hulk's going to walk and punch Blade. She does 2 damage to him, which isn't too bad, and which then gives her the power to throw him or throw an item. But I think actually I've walked her just out of 2 of everything around her. So she's going to throw Blade, sort of like suplex him. She's trying to figure out ranges here about where would be best. So in the end, we are just going to sort of throw him over the top of ourselves to here, just because then it puts him closer to all my own models. Ant-Man's going to go next. He's just going to move on to the objective that's just in front of Hulk. Although my opponent is just asking for some of my threat ranges at this point. So there you go. Ant-Man's just going to go there. Nice easy move. Medusa's going to go. She's just going to double move onto that objective, going the long way round because I want to try and stay out of Hulk's range, just to contest it. Given I've got 2 objectives, my opponent admittedly has the Skrull. Hulk is then going to move. There's a bit of measurement here about because my opponent's kind of put Ant-Man directly in the way, unfortunately, which he has realised now of where Hulk wants to go, because Hulk wants to come make a beeline for his cousin. So he's going to move to there. He's then going to gamma leap to there, and then he's going to do another walk to there. And that's the end of round 1. Nice, quick, easy. And we'll see what happens going into round 2 with me. So really, really simple round 1 there. My opponent scores. I've got him down as scoring 4, but that's that'll be for the Skrull and for his home objective, and I scored 2, which is for my home objective and the home objective towards the camera. So very quick, very simple. I have priority. She-Hulk's got to deal with both Blade and Hulk, so we'll see how that goes in just a minute. So I'm going to open this turn by playing Stalwart Determination. So none of my characters can be pushed or thrown because all 4 of my characters are affiliated. And I frankly don't want Hulk throwing me around the board. Or pushing, actually, because he can do both. So we are going to open with She-Hulk because I need to deal with Blade. We'll just punch him and we'll daze him straight off. First hit. I roll quite well. My opponent doesn't roll too bad. And obviously She-Hulk will then pick up the Skrull. She is then going to spend to use superior weight training to get a number of dice equal to the size of the model I'm about to attack, and then she's going to punch Hulk. So she only does 2 damage, but you know, it's a start, and it's enough to get the slow condition on Hulk, although Hulk is already slowed, but it sets up potentially for spenders later. I'm then just going to spend 3 and just throw Hulk away medium, because you know, I want him ideally to be as far away as possible from the objectives. So he is going to then go with Hulk. Again, you know, his best option on that side of the board. So you're going to Gamma Leap, so he's back in range to attack She-Hulk. He's then going to Thunderclap both She-Hulk and Black Cat, which I hadn't actually considered as an option. Most I always forget he has Thunderclap. I remember Hulk Smash and his standard punch, but always forget that he can Thunderclap. He does nothing to She-Hulk, but he does get 3 damage into Black Cat. Now, I probably could have bodyguarded this. I don't think I've got the power actually. But to be perfectly honest, at this point, She-Hulk has the Skrull, so I'd rather keep as much health on her as possible. He's then going to punch She-Hulk a second time, and he does 3 damage. The other good thing actually about Black Cat at this point is, I mean, she's now got 3 power, and she can use her Troublemaker Spender, which is only a 2 cost, which she's going to do just because she's going to target Hulk with it, because we'd rather get him staggered for next turn. So we do 1 damage and stagger off that, which is the important bit, the stagger. We're then just going to move, so we're out of being able to be beamed by Hulk next turn, as my opponent will have priority. Will he? I think my opponent should. Oh, my opponent at this point does have priority, yes. So Steve is going to go, Mr. Captain the America. He is going to attack Medusa for 4 damage, and then he's going to shield slam her and daze her. So I've got priority back again, which is never a bad thing. Carol is going to go then next. She just does her energy shooting fist attack twice, and she is just going to put a bit of damage into Hulk and build up some power on herself. She gets an auto power every time she uses the attack. She manages to get 3 damage through on the first attack, and then her second attack she won't do anything, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But again, it's a little bit of damage. Ant-Man sits on the objective. A bit of talk about, does he come and interrupt something somewhere, but he's going to struggle to get the Skrull off She-Hulk in 1 activation. So yeah, that's the end of round. So swing there in points. My opponent now takes 2 objectives. So you've got the objective at the top of the screen with Steve, and the objective that Ant-Man is sat on. I also have 2 objectives. So I've got the one on my home and the one towards the bottom of the screen near the camera. And then I also have the Skrull. So it takes us to an even 6-6 going into round 3. I still have priority because my opponent managed to daze Medusa. So let's see how round 3 goes. So I'm going to go first, obviously, because I have priority. She-Hulk's going to activate. She's got a bunch of power. So at this point, I'm looking at what do I do to Hulk. So I'm going to superior weight training and just strike him. Does 5 damage, which is pretty nice. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing again, and superior weight training with a standard strike. And we are going to get another 5 damage through. Should be worth noting that the Hulk does re-roll with Puny Banner both times against both my attacks and just rolls atrociously. So that's 10 damage over those 2 attacks. Obviously, he's still slowed. We're then going to throw him into Ant-Man. Now, we did that the collision happened, but I'm not sure if Ant-Man should have transformed and then when he moves his 1 gets out of range. Someone will have to check me on that, but we did that. He was still hit and then transformed. We might have just got the activation order the wrong way round at that point, but Ant-Man then backs off a little bit to safety. But I'm happy with 10 damage on Hulk and 3 damage on Ant-Man. So Blade's going to go. He's going to attack She-Hulk from where he is. He's going to start with just his standard strike, and he's going to get no damage through on his first attack. He's then going to spend for Knight of the Damphir, and he's going to do a bit better on that one. He is going to pull off 7 damage into She-Hulk with the Knight of the Damphir attack. So he does pretty good job that second time round, makes up for his lack of damage on that first roll. Obviously, She-Hulk is bleeding as well, which you can see. That was from the first attack that didn't do any damage. So looking at Carol just out of being able to shoot Hulk, so she's not going to go. Oh, and then Blade moves. Oh, he gets the move off the Knight of the Damphir attack, doesn't he? So he's contesting. Is he contesting? No, I've got 2 models there. But he's there in case, basically sort of threatens me, so I can't move Black Cat. So Medusa's going to go. She's going to attack Captain America the Steve and do 4 damage, which is actually more than I was expecting, if I'm perfectly honest. She's then going to throw a building at Steve, because that gets around him being able to spend to increase his defense, because it's a straight up dodge, and she dazes him. So that is him out of the way. She just moves then as part of her second action, just ever so slightly, so she's further away from Hulk and Ant-Man. Hulk's going to go. He is going to shake Stagger, obviously, because he has to. He is then going to a Gamma Leap to there, and he is just in range, and he is going to Hulk smash She-Hulk, which doesn't do too much damage, actually. He's got an 11 dice Hulk smash, and he rolls pretty poorly. You know, I rolled decently well. I say decently well. I think I only got 1 or 2, but he rolled poorly. Does 1 damage, just the 1 damage, but does get Stagger, obviously really, really important, and he can throw me, and he throws me into Black Cat. So this does obviously cause issues with that objective, because he dazes Black Cat from that throw. So that sort of puts her out of being able to do anything for this turn, and has, admittedly, She-Hulk is still holding that objective because she is a healthy character compared to Blade's injured side. So Carol is going to go. She is going to activate Binary and shoot Hulk with her hand lasers, and she's going to do not a lot on the first attack, despite like obviously all these re-rolls. So when non-Skrull re-rolls, she just get 4 successes, but only does 3, does no damage. Sorry, and then she's going to do it again, and she does manage to daze Hulk on that second attack lot, with 3 damage. So Ant-Man's going to go. He is going to spend to use Hitch a Ride, because he's not like my opponent's sort of realising he needs to get me off some objectives or kill some of my models, just to try and hinder me. So he's looking back. Can he get all the way over to She-Hulk with the Skrull? Probably not from where he is at the moment. So his other options are, basically Medusa, or he can try for Carol, but I think again he's also a bit too far away from Carol. If he is healthy though, so all he's got to do is get to that objective, and he takes it off Medusa. So he's going to Hitch a Ride, then he's going to move, and then he's going to transform. God, he's so fast, this boy. And then do his Spender into Medusa, which does do 3 damage. It's pretty decent. It's half her health, and and obviously inflicts the stun condition. I say obviously, you might not know. It's the first time I played against Ant-Man. I own him, but I've never actually used him or looked at his card. So that is the end of that round, and he is going to take that objective because he is a healthy character versus Medusa. Right, so my opponent only scores 1 point, which is for the point that Ant-Man is on at the top of the screen. I have 2 of the objectives, and I have the Skrull, so that takes me up to 10 points. Hulk, as in Hulk Banner, is dazed, so that will be an interesting thing to see what happens next. I do still have priority because my opponent dazed Black Cat, and I've only got Blade and then obviously 2 dudes on the top of the screen to deal with. So let's jump into round 4 and let's see how it goes. So it's going to be a real quick round 4 and round 5 actually. Slight spoilers there. Medusa's going to go because she has to go. There's a wounded Cap, and a fully healthy Ant-Man over there, and she is flush with power and only on 3 health. So Medusa will choose to activate. Black Cat, however, will patch up She-Hulk for the 5 health, which will be really helpful into Blade, who's over there at the moment. Captain Marvel's then also going to use A-Force Assemble, and Medusa is going to use her Spender. So I'm just blowing all my cards here, just in an attempt to keep She-Hulk with the Skrull alive. Again, it's only 1 extra defense, but it's better than nothing. So the Spender from Medusa into Cap straight up KOs him in 1 hit, which was even with my opponent spending to up Cap's defense. See, I moved him with the Spender, and then he was like, "Oh no, you've KO'd him." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then we'll do obviously the Spender into Ant-Man. Ant-Man does transform in an attempt to survive, but fails, and we daze him in a single hit. And then I think we move him as well. Oh no, and then I move to the other side of the objective just to get a little bit closer back into the fight. Blade's going to go. He's going to attack Black Cat because he doesn't like Black Cat because she does stagger and stealing stuff. But She-Hulk will bodyguard and take 2 damage. He's then going to... I probably shouldn't have bodyguarded that, really. She-Hulk has taken a little bit of damage at the moment, and I probably could have gotten away with that on Black Cat. He's then going to Knight of the Damn Fear into She-Hulk and do 5 damage. I'm gonna. Oh no, sorry. I stepped to the other side of him using aggressive, which maybe I shouldn't. Well, no, I had a plan, and then I didn't think about the plan. After he Knight of Damn Fears me, he does 5 damage this time to She-Hulk, and what I probably should have done at this point was stayed where I was, but I thought, I'm going to walk back to the other side using my aggressive because I always forget about it. So let's use it. Well, I should have stayed the other side because then I could have gone for his home objective. He's thinking obviously get the move off Knight of the Damn Fear, and then he is going to play Avengers Assemble on just himself and also go for a little walk back to that objective over there. She-Hulk's going to activate, realizes she's not going to be able to get to Blade to do anything other than maybe throw him, and just use both her actions to shake both the conditions she had on her, bleed and stagger. That was it, yeah. We're then going to go Black Cat. She's going to move. She's going to Troublemaker, which does no damage to Blade, but does stagger him, which is obviously always useful. Captain Marvel, she's going to binary to be in a defensive posture on that home objective. And then I'm going to end my turn. She's not going to do anything else. She's out of range to shoot Blade by a reasonable amount. Like, there's no point in risking the game at this point. So she just stays where she is. So that is 5 points for me. That's 3 of the objectives and the Skrull, taking me up to 15 points. So every objective bar the one by my opponent's home. Didn't quite round out the game at this point. Possibly could have had I left She-Hulk within walking distance of my opponent's home objective with that aggressive move. Could have then walked, picked up Blade and thrown him off the objective maybe, but that's hindsight's 2020. We got round 5 coming up, and I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this stage. So my opponent does have priority, and Ant-Man is eyeing up Medusa. At this point, it's about scoring points. My opponent can't stop me because Blade is staggered. I don't think he's going to be able to get to She-Hulk and do anything. So Ant-Man is just going to attack Medusa and just KOs her. He's then going to transform and stay on the objective. Black Cat is going to double move to the back end of my home objective. The point here being gives Carol the opportunity to walk off the objective and lets me do like Black Cat's relatively safe between stealth and distance. Blade's going to go. He's going to shake stagger by spending. He's then going to move once towards my home objective, just in an effort to try and get Carol perhaps a little bit of damage, although Carol hasn't taken any damage, so perhaps it wasn't the smartest move. Just attacks her, doesn't do any damage, and then Carol's just going to double move onto his home objective, and then I'm going to end all of my turns, and we'll finish the game there. So yeah, real quick final round there. I score another 5. My opponent scores another 1, taking him to 9 and me to 20. I'm quite happy with how the match played out. I think my opponent misplayed Hulk, if I'm perfectly honest. I think he probably should have sent Hulk to combat Medusa, and then his Hulk is faster than my Hulk after I'd blown special delivery turn 1, and then perhaps he could have rolled down back to my home objective versus Carol after dealing with Medusa. Hindsight's 2020. I think that I'm not. Skrulls I don't think is bad for A-Force, but it's not really my jam. So I believe I have swapped Skrulls out at this stage, because Skrulls was one of my missions, just as something else. But like I said, after LGT, maybe I'll just do a quick video on the Monday or Tuesday when I'm back, just to go through my list and how my games went, and just give you guys my opinion of the event overall. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.